Let's see if that matches my plate. I'll be very, very honest, at this point I'm a little bit concerned. Oh crap. Hey, welcome today to episode 11. Today I'm hoping to do a very easy project. I know I keep saying this, but it's going to be a fun project too. And the idea is to make some toy cars for my nephew Charlie. So after the massive disappointment of having the wrong base plate for my router, I quickly spent yesterday afternoon designing something new, a new project that actually had nothing ready because the wood that was supposed to be delivered on Friday didn't arrive for whatever reason, so I assume it's arriving on Monday. So I decided to make wooden toys. I wanted to do this a while ago, so I've created like these templates, and it should be a fairly straightforward project. There's nothing too difficult. Get to use the bandsaw a lot, the scroll saw, and I will try and do 2 vehicles. I've got designs for 4, but I don't think I'll manage all of them today. So I've gathered sort of all the scraps and sort of the last bit of leftovers. I want obviously contrasting wood, so I've got some pine, I've got some oak, and this is the Padauk leftover, or Sapele I think it actually is. And I think it's going to be the end of this piece of wood, poor old Charlotte. I want to use this for some of the cores because it's quite thick and I made this kind of stock. So I will cut down the pieces to all the widths I need, because I need different widths for depending on which part of the car it is. And the other one will be a tractor. And I will mill down that wood and then I'll attach these templates so that I can cut it out on the bandsaw. I've got all the pieces kind of laid out. I need to just cut out the individual pieces of the templates and glue them onto the wood. I need to fix something on my bandsaw, so I figured out what all the drift was after months and months and months of wondering what the hell's going on. So what I'm actually going to do as part of this video is, I've got another design for a truck which I'm not planning to build, but I'm going to build it out of this, but I need it to be thinner. So I thought, hey, let me try and fix my bandsaw, see if the problem is that problem, and cut this in half as well. So there's like bonus material in this video. So yeah, let me just start cutting this stuff out. Okay, we're back in my favorite machine. And every time I use it, I always get drift. And I was getting quite frustrated. And the way I'd set it up is I'd make sure that this is parallel to the table. And then let me just move that, I'll show you what that's for in a second. And then I just slide it into the width I wanted and start the cut. Obviously, because the table is perfectly parallel to the blade. That is the problem. So what I do is to make sure that it's parallel to this, because I know that that track is parallel to that track. But, and this is a trick I learned from a German YouTube channel. We actually bought the table saw from Maschinen Handel Meyer, MHM on YouTube, and they have some fantastic tutorials. But, and I'll link some, especially there's one specifically how to set up this bandsaw. However, it is in German, so sorry about that. They might have English subtitles, not sure. But anyway, he showed me this trick of using a hard ruler, and if you slide this in, you can see, I don't know if you can see from there, it touches at this side first. Let me see if I can bring you around. You know, it's very difficult for me to see. I think you can see that there's a gap, right? And this is now obviously perfectly aligned with the blade. So the problem is the whole table isn't aligned to my blade. So what I'll need to do is move the table. So I'm going to do that, adjust it, and then see, I'm going to cut that piece in half and see how that goes. The moment of truth has come. Yes, please. Look at that. I'm actually, hold on, stay there. I'm gonna measure this, check. 4 centimeters exactly. And 4 centimeters, maybe 1/10 of a millimeter. Awesome, so happy. Wow, I am so relieved that I figured that out. I can't tell you how happy I am, because it's a very expensive machine, and every time I use it I struggle with something. I mean, a lot of small cuts are fine, but one of the big things and one of the big reasons I bought such a big one was that I could potentially split a whole log in half and make a table, etc. And every time I try and do something that's a bit thicker, it just wonders. And you know what? It was a stupid mistake. So I can tell you what I did last time. Last time I went in and I took a ruler, very similar approach. However, it was a 50 centimeter long ruler, but it was a flexible ruler. So it wasn't perfect. And I didn't take as much time and care to set it. Whereas now, that took about maybe 10, 15 minutes tops. And look at the result, a nearly perfect cut. So yeah, take your time to set up your machines. Definitely do it. It's worth every second. But now, before I go, I'm gonna go have breakfast and, have a well-deserved treat. Okay, so after that success story and some good breakfast, I will need to cut out all these pieces. Now, one thing I remembered, I have, like, for example, these 2 pieces are the same. The 2 sides of the cars are the same. So rather than trying to cut out 2 and make it exactly the same, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to glue 2 pieces of wood together and do the cutout once. I've seen that somewhere before. So for that, I'm going to cut some strips, glue that on. Hello, Mina. Hello, puppy. My 2 dogs. So before that, I'm going to cut the strips. I'm just going to use the bandsaw, cut them off, stick them together with some double-sided tape, spray the top on and cut it out. So I'm going to start with the pieces for this car. I'm going to quickly change the blade of my bandsaw so that I've got a smaller blade so that I can do curves easier. But yeah, after that it's just cutting it through, and for all the finer and tighter curves I'm going to use a scroll saw at the end. So yeah, let me get going. Man, I don't know if you can see in the light, but I've got all this glue stuck to my fingers. I should have maybe worn gloves or... Yeah, anyway, I'm going to try and get that off before I start, and then let's start cutting out some stuff. I guess that's why we don't do it with that. I'm happy Yeah, I'm happy I had this one, but this is a bummer. Really pity. Okay, well that didn't work, did it? So the reason I did it on the drill press is because I can't cut those sharp corners on the bandsaw, and I can't cut on the scroll saw because the scroll saw's height is too little. So even the windows, I need to make a different plan. Must probably just cut it out by hand. And as you can see in this one, even this bend was very hard to do with the bandsaw. So what I'm going to try and do is, because I want to make the small car as well, I'm going to swap out the blade and redo that cut very, very quickly. And see if I can get the sharp corners in, or I'll just do it very similar to this. Then next step after that was just split all of these, sand them, like the round bits here. I need to just go over and sand with this with the spindle sander, or the closest I have to that. And then we glue up and start working on the wheels. God, I wish I had done that from the beginning. Should have just used that blade all along. I mean, I don't even need to sand those. That's ridiculous. Anyway, now for the fun part, sanding them all. Actually, no, I'm gonna do the windows first because that seems like the difficult part. Okay, so it's in there. I need to now saw in a circle. I'm going to try and see if I can film it, but no promises here. Okay, that's not going to happen. I tried feverishly. Now, what I'm thinking, right, and hear me out, is when you make a bandsaw box, you can generally cut one side, you cut out the thing, and then you stick it back together. I'm thinking I'm going to do this here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut I guess in here from the bottom in and try and glue it together. I'm going to use a small one first and see if I can if that works, and then we'll go from there. I mean, if I glue this down, I'm kind of thinking of doing the same here and then put it on as a lid. And now I can just glue that back on like that. Looks pretty good. I'm going to sand it out first and then glue it on. I think I'll do that with both. It looks alright. I just need to sand this part down. Perfect. Whoa. That's extremely dusty all over my whole face. But I think I've got most of the sanding done. At least all the rough work. I still have to then hand sand it at the end. But I think we're ready to glue up, and while the glue's drying, I'll work on the wheels. All right, so are you ready to glue together?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so who missed this, huh?
Ich.
Yeah, I know.
Ich.
So we
And
do that. And we do this.
this.
Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue.
Ich.
You going to help me, Max?
Ja. Und dann ich.
And then you, yes. Okay, just a little bit. Just so that we can cover all of it in a minute.
Oh!
Okay.
Jetzt ich das nennen.
Now then. Okay, we now need to wait for that to dry. I'm gonna fix these tractor wheels, fix that. I'm gonna do a round over on the edges, and I'm gonna use this here to make the wheels for all the others. I think I can just cut it out with the like these cut out bits, but I'll have to put the round over on these manually because they don't fit on the router table. I don't have a router. It's too scary to do that. So yeah, let me get on with that. So for all of those that don't know why we did maths in school, how do you find the center of a circle? You can't really see, well maybe you can see. Two lines, 90 degrees at the halfway point of the line, where they meet, center. And that's how we get the holes.
I then took the cars to the drill press to drill the holes for the axles. Now with the small car I made a mistake and that hole was too close to the top of the car, meaning that the wheel was sticking. I fixed that later with sanding it down, but on the big car all worked really well. I did the same for the tractor and yeah.
Wow, it's getting quite late already. However, look here. Oh, can you see? Just move it here. We have it rolling. I still need to epoxy it all in. So, I'm going to use epoxy for the brass so that sort of holds. I'll epoxy one side, wait a few minutes. Well, actually, I might do both. So I'll epoxy that in each of the wheels for, yeah. And then the only thing that's left after that is to sand it a little bit down by hand with finer grit, and then I'll finish it. But most probably I'll do the finishing another day, as yeah, it's getting quite late. But it's looking good. I'm quite happy with the progress. I think like this one looks fantastic. Even the car. Once the finish is on, it'll be awesome. There's a lot of sanding involved, so I need to like round over the edges a little bit and just to make it a bit neater and you know flatten out the whole thing. But because of the nature of it being a toy and wavy and that, I have to do that by hand. So that'll be a project for one evening. So yeah, let me epoxy these on, and then we'll go from there. I forgot how much epoxy stinks. So a few days have passed, the epoxy's dry. I then spent more countless hours sanding to get a smoother finish, also to polish up the brass rod that I used as the axle on most of these pieces, so the wheels feel like super smooth because I went up to like 400 grit on there. There's still some light marks, not so much on the big one, but on the small one of the blade from the bandsaw. Just because I used the wrong size, right? Next time I'm just going to use a smaller one. It's much easier. Cuts much cleaner. Also, I think if I had the router table, I could have, made one and then used the templating bit to copy that, and that would give me a super clean cut. But overall for toys, I'm super happy on this. I also added a little exhaust on the tractor because I nearly forgot that. I'm pretty much there. All I'm going to do is I'm going to use wax to finish it. I was thinking what different things to use. I could use varnish and all that, but because a kid will be playing and potentially putting it in their mouth, I've got food safe wax and oil. So this is just normal beeswax mixed with food safe mineral oil that I use for chopping boards and the like. And I put this on anything that gets in contact with food. So I'll quickly wax that so we can see it all pop, and then we're pretty much done. The big one, so just get some wax. It's a bit hard because it's quite cold today, so I'm just gonna get some on, and then here we go. Let's see how that tops. I mean, you can already... I really love this wood. It really sort of stands out. I mean, look at that. You can see that's sort of the previous color. I hope there's enough light actually. Let me just move you to a more lighty area. Okay, I'm gonna just continue waxing over here because we'll have a better light. But yeah, you can see, I mean, especially the top, because this is half end grain, it goes really dark, but it's looking really good. And there we go. Toys are ready to be played with. A little bit of wax here and there. This will dry out a little bit more, and I'll do another buffing just before I send it off. But I think it's looking pretty good. I mean, look at that. It's a simple toy car. I know it's a very simple thing, but perfect for a little kid, right? I mean, maybe my eldest is a bit too old for it, but I know my youngest keeps saying he wants his tractor. So, yeah. I'm actually quite happy how it turned out. I think there were some challenges in this project that I didn't foresee, but nothing too hair-raising this time. And for the fact that I sort of thought of it in one day, I'm quite happy. So what I'll try and do is, if I have the templates, I'll try and sort of get them ready, and then I can share them with people. And let me just crank this camera. And yeah, so if anyone wants to build their own version of these, you just take the templates and just follow what I did. It's not that difficult. If I can do it, you definitely can. So yeah, I'm very happy with this success project. Now to just, pack it up, wrap it, and send it so that it gets to the UK in time for Christmas. But yeah, I think that's the wrap. Next week, I'll hopefully continue on my router table and get that step closer to finishing that. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe and like always. Thank you. Catch you later. Give me a second.
So guys, I think my car's coming later. Okay? Marco's car is going now, and Charlie's car. Charlie's car, my car. Ding, ding.